is Alarm Fantasy Football. Here is Britt Flinn. It is Andrew Cooper. How we doing, gang? It's Thursday. We're a week away from actual regular season games that count in the NFL.
1 week. I don't know what to do with my hands. All year, I'm even doing these best ball drafts since February, since literally right after the Super Bowl, whenever they opened. And now it's time. This is one of the last few of the year, though, right? One of the last couple.
It's the home stretch here. I will say that I am excellent because right as we went live, I got the notification that Treylon Burke's status is changed from questionable to healthy.
Whoa.
So let's go.
How do you do it?
It's killing all those hogs.
Medical science.
Wolverine
killing
blood.
them hogs.
Wolverine blood and hog killing ligaments. And he is.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
There it is, dude. Hey, we'll have to check with Edwin Porras to see how killing hogs with your bare hands affects your ability to recover from knee injuries. But clearly, the small sample size we have indicates that it's everything, right?
It works.
Yeah. So I got a best ball draft going today. I believe we have everybody in here, so we'll be getting our draft slots momentarily. And
just got in.
They're up. Let me get that draft board up for y'all's. Got people trickling in the chat. Josh, what's up, dude? We got hopefully most of the Fantasy Alarm gang from the Best Ball Alarmy Army will be in here with us. What do you think about that name? I've been workshopping it.
The Alarmy?
The Alarmy Army.
I just like the Alarmy, like just one.
It's not bad, dude. Just the one Alarmy.
I think it's a little like superfluous with the Army after it. I don't know.
We'll leave it at the Alarmy.
We're workshopping it.
Here's what we got. This is a mix of a couple new people and some regulars going live. I see you looking here in the chat, John Skinner in the house. What's up, brother? So the picks are going to be Rowdy. That's Ann Dunn picking at 1. Icy Through. He's a regular. He's a sharp. Jay Breezy, another regular, got the badge up there. I see you looking. That's John in the chat here. I think this might be one of your first ones with us. Correct me if I'm wrong. Old Sauce McFloss. That's your boy A Coop at 6. Chicago Poncho, that's Ponch Rio at 7. Our own Kevin Tompkins at 8. Our boy Sigma at 9. Rams fan 72, which I want to say it's their first one with us. I think that's Dale. And Britt at 11, and then CDM 82 at 12. One of them's Dale, one of them's Nate. So double check in with me on that. But we're running. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, 1 and 2. Per usual.
I bet if Ani Coop, if you texted her and asked her who the favorite is, probably be a Rams fan.
I think she'd be siding with Rams fan, no question on this.
Come on, Ani Coop loves me.
Ani Coop actually does like Britt best, so it would probably be between Rams fan and Britt. That'd be a tough one for her to decide on because her and Britt, like peas in a pod. I should just give you her number instead of her texting me her, picks for like the Masked Singer. Be like, tell Britt, I do not care. I'm just putting you guys in your own chat moving forward.
I would love that. Ani Coop and I can discuss Keenan Allen being the gargoyle all the time. Yes. I think that's a great idea. That might be one of your best ideas ever, Coop.
Might have to just do that, dude. Save myself some trouble. Yes, so John in the chat, he is Icy Through. Not only is his first one with us, but never done a best ball. So new experience across the board here. Fun times.
Better late than never.
Were had by all. I'm going to draft a player that I haven't drafted much of, and it's going to be Cooper Kupp, right? And when I I've been doing a lot of looking at the projections out there. And for instance, Underdog has their own pick'em section where you can look at certain stat lines they've put together and pick higher or lower. And when you go in and look at a guy like Cooper Kupp, they have him right where you would expect. Over 100 receptions is where we're seeing those over-unders, so the higher and lowers be set. You have you have his yards at like 1,300, 1,250 in a lot of places. I mean, they're not expecting much. If you think that Cooper Kupp isn't going to be Cooper Kupp this year, the move that you probably want to do is go over to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code ALARM, where they'll match 100% of your deposit up to $100, and then go in there and click lower on that number. For me, I've seen enough of this where if the experts of all experts, think that he's going to be himself, then I probably should be drafting more of him. So I'm taking him here. I haven't taken much of him, but that doesn't mean in my big hometown drafts, Nick Skinner in the chat, in one of my hometown leagues, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take Cooper Kupp there. So be on notice, Skinner.
Yeah. I got a bonkers stat about Cooper Kupp, by the way, from CBS's Chris Towers, by the way. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp have played together for 28 games, where neither have left the game due to injury, whatever. Kupp scored a touchdown in 20 out of those 28 games, and in the 8 games he didn't score a touchdown, Coop averaged 19.6 fantasy points per game.
Is that good?
Per sources, that's pretty good.
I wonder what his average is on the whole, because it's probably higher than, 19. That's
at
20
least 22-ish.
That's all you ask for is 20 points, but like a touchdown in 20 of 28 games, that's outrageous, dude.
But the games that he's not scoring a touchdown, that's not inflated by that. That's sick.
We got a question coming in here from Twitch stream. What's your thoughts? Here we go from James Johnson. What's your thoughts on my team? 10-team QB Jalen Hurts. Sorry, hold on. Let me get the question. What's your thoughts on my team? 10-team QB Jalen Hurts, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, Tony Pollard, Alexander Madison, Kyle Pitts, in the super flex Justin Fields, and then he's got on the bench Ayuk, Evans, White, Pacheco, Pickett, Laporta. Full PPR, super flex, and any trade ideas. So how are you guys feeling about that one there? I don't see a lot of holes in that team.
No, it is 10-team as well, so you're getting the inflated. That a little bit inflated too, but I don't particularly mind it.
What's inflated?
With the 10 teams, we talk about the talent.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, like, I guess the one move that you might want to try and do is take one of Ayuk and Evans, maybe, or like in a 10-team
with Madison and upgrade your RB2.
Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to do most times in a 10-team league. Is all I care about is the star players. In fact, in 10-team leagues, I find
consolidate
as much as you can. And I know most people are onto that trick, but if you can do 2-for-1s or even 3-for-1s, it doesn't matter, because it's probably, if you're the worst guy on your bench is Sam Laporta, there's probably still very good players on waivers. So I would try and package up and do a 2-for-1 for a better RB2. But everything else, I love. It's just, I look at it and it's like, when are you going to start Ayuk and Evans with Amari and Waddle? You almost, pretty deep there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the other thing I would do, James, is I would petition your league for next year to add, if you're going to do a 10-team league, to add a regular flex.
Yeah.
I like to have the super flex spot and then one regular flex spot as well, because, the super flex is almost always going to be quarterbacks in a 10-team league. You have 3 good ones. So you're always going to start QB there. It'd be nice to have another flex just to start a Evans or a White or an Ayuk. So I would reach out to the commissioner right now and be like, hey, you know what? Next year, let's add a regular flex spot to this league.
Yeah. More roster spots, guys you can start is more fun. Like,
exactly.
It is, to me, it's not fun that much. Fantasy is fun, but 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex is less fun than getting to maybe start 3 wide receivers or having like 2 regular flexes or a super flex. Like, just the more you can start, especially when the talent pool is kind of consolidated to 10 teams rather than 12, it's just more fun to me.
Let's take a peek at this draft board. I want to talk ICU's team, man. That's his first best ball draft. Looks like he knows what he's doing, though. Austin Eckler, Chris Olave. I'm not really seeing anything that really jumps out like crazy just yet. I will say Chicago Poncho, in a position where most people that I see, if they take Travis Kelce and they're going to take a quarterback in the 2nd round, it would be Patrick Mahomes and go for the stack. Poncho is just saying, nope, best player available. I'm taking my QB1, Jalen Hurts, Travis Kelce. Is that something you're ever doing, Kev? Would you, in that situation, would you ever take Hurts over Mahomes personally, just given the stacking situation?
Like in a tournament format, it's a good differentiator because how many Kelce Mahomes teams are going to be? There's going to be,
right.
If you're talking about a 400-team final in week 17, if anybody that has Kelce, probably 50 to 60% of those teams are going to have Mahomes too. So having Hurts is a good differentiator to kind of leverage off of Patrick Mahomes, because these elite players aren't infallible. Look, Justin Jefferson put up 2 fantasy points in week 17 last year. Like, these guys aren't infallible. So having a pivot off of that kind of leverage. You kind of take the DFS kind of slant with that too, where you're getting Hurts. If he blows up, then your Kelsey team's supercharged.
Yeah. What do you think, Flynn? Are you ever going? If you have Kelsey, are you ever skipping Mahomes and going straight to a guy like Jalen Hurts?
In a tournament best ball, maybe, but not in just a regular 12-teamer like this. I will say I did it in a mock draft that we had earlier today. I got Kelsey, and then Mahomes was sitting right there, but I didn't like stacking since it was a redraft format, but that's different than best ball.
Yeah, pretty spicy. We also saw here and Dunn, Rowdy at the first pick going Lamar Jackson over Patrick Mahomes. So, maybe people aren't fully sold on Mahomes being. The thing is with fantasy football that people also got to understand is that you can say that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league while saying there are better fantasy options. Like Tom Brady was the best quarterback in the league for a while. And besides the year that he threw 50 touchdown passes, there were often better fantasy options. So you got to separate, right? It's the same thing I say with George Kittle. I'm like, George Kittle's the best two-way tight end in the league, and I'm not drafting him in fantasy football. You have to separate the three things are you have to separate your fandom, you have to separate just your regular, by fandom, I mean your hometown team, your regular NFL versus your fantasy football. So keep that all separated and you'll be a better player for it.
Yeah. Pro tip, make your own team's fan base hate you, and then you won't have to get, sucked into the Green Bay, at least for me, the Green Bay cone of influence, if you will.
And so here, Ann doing kind of the opposite of Poncho. She says in the chat, she wanted the stack. Makes sense. Double tap Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson to complete that stack. There is correlation there. My advice to folks out there, in all formats, there is correlation, but don't reach to complete the stack. Then you lose all that value. Even Josh Larkey of 33rd Team, who wrote the Bible on stacking, says that you lose all value by reaching too far to stack. So for Ann, if she's sitting there and says, I don't think there's a big difference between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, go for the guy that completes the stack. But in my opinion, never draft a worse player to stack. That's my take on it. But the science isn't fully fleshed out, but the numbers I've seen say try not to reach. But if you can complete the stack without reaching, now you're talking, right, Kev?
Yeah, stacking should be, I'd say it's tiebreaker between, if I'm going between two guys, like if I'm the second round or if I'm the third round to have Jalen Waddle and it's kind of a murky area anyway, I'll take a Mark Andrews because obviously Miami and Baltimore correlate in week 17. But from top down to the 18th pick, I know I'm on the clock right now. I'll just take DJ Moore. I'm thinking about stacking more as the draft goes on, especially in a tournament. Like in a self-contained 12 team, I'll maybe do a correlation or something like that, but I'm not really super my mind's not set on it. But get your first 4 or 5 and then kind of correlate to that later on in the draft.
And I want to bring up how far is too far of a reach. When does it count as a reach as far as a stack? Because we always preach, go get your guys, don't listen to ADP, things like that. So when do those waters kind of meet?
Yeah, so that's my opinion on that is pretty simple. If you were going to reach on the player anyway, that's okay. If you, like you're saying, Britt, get your guy. If you like a player ahead of ADP, that's not reaching to complete the stack. You are already drafting the player there. Where it's reaching, in my opinion, is let's say you do tiers and you put Patrick Mahomes in tier 1 with Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, and you have Lamar Jackson in a separate tier in tier 2. If you were to draft against your own rankings and what you actually believe and go a full tier down to Lamar Jackson just to stack, that's where, in my opinion, you've reached to complete the stack. If you just have those guys even, now it's not a reach. Does that make a lot of sense? It's if you were going to do it anyway, then yeah, absolutely do it anyway. And that's not, you're not forcing the stack in that sense.
Right.
And Josh in the chat makes a good point, Kev taking RBs, and I still haven't taken one. So a little bit of bizarro world here.
To be fair, they are young and sexy running backs.
That's true. I would have 100% taken Joe Mixon if Chicago Poncho didn't knife in there and take him from me.
And it was going to be Ramondre, but he got taken a pick ahead of me. So, I mean, that area for wide receivers is just it's not great.
Yeah,
Like I like Keenan Allen. I got enough of him. I've got enough DK Metcalf. I mean, that price is a lot better than the 2-3 turn price we were paying like a month or two ago. But still, I would much rather have Ramondre Stevenson or Gibbs or Mark Andrews, or if T. Higgins had fallen, I would have taken him.
we got
Yeah,
Tom Lucia in the chat saying Jake Ferguson, Tommy Lou. That's another one of my hometown buddies, dude. No, Jake Ferguson, man, come on. The thing about Jake Ferguson is people want him to be Dalton Schultz. Last year when Dalton Schultz got hurt, he wasn't Dalton Schultz. Peyton Hendershot ran more routes, played more snaps from the slot, right? And that would be the case if we just had Schultz leave and everything was the same, but we don't have that. It's not just CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup anymore. Now we got Brandon Cooks coming in. So I do understand the idea that maybe Dak Prescott just loves whoever's playing the tight end position regardless. But I got to tell you, it's a new group of wide receivers. There's multiple tight ends with the team, and Kellen Moore ain't walking through that door. He's gone, baby. So the volume they might not be a team that throws the top 5 pass attempts like they have virtually every year. So I get the idea, Tommy, but I don't know if I'm on board. I don't know if I'm on board. Maybe last round pick or maybe in best ball.
Well, you made a good point there too, that Hendershot ran more routes out of the slot. The official depth chart actually has Luke Schoonmaker over Hendershot and behind Ferguson. So if that situation's already there, we kind of maybe need to be looking at Schoonmaker to be making a play as the pass catching tight end in this system.
Good thing.
So to look
Our
out
generation's Blake Jarwin. Let's go.
Oh, poor Blake.
I just almost took another wide receiver. Almost wish I did, but I just took I drafted Kenneth Walker for the first time all year. This is the one time I have Kenneth Walker. I don't think I have many on any dynasty teams either. So there you go, Kenneth Walker time.
Want to hear something sick? If Ken Walker made it to me, I was going to take it.
You're going to take him too? Yeah. I was just looking around.
Who are you and what have you done with Kevin Tompkins?
I took Ken Walker not because I like Ken Walker, but because I'm horrified about the running backs that are coming up next. I mean, just like, goodness gracious. And just this draft, I'm glad I am doing this the way I'm doing it, because going back, now in my hometown draft, I said I might take Cooper Kupp. If I'm in that spot, I will take Bijan Robinson now. Just looking at what came to me on the way back, I think I would much rather have Bijan. So, hey, that's why we do these, right?
Yeah, get the reps in. That's what's so important, especially when you're doing like home leagues. Like, to me, like mock drafting, I will not do it. Like, this is like the best way to get reps with the ADP, get reps with drafting and being on the clock and having to make 30-second decisions. And you're going to have more time in your home league more than likely, but to me, this is the best chance to get reps. And all you have to do that is use promo code ALARM on Underdog Fantasy. So you get $100 deposit match up to $100. So if you put in 25, you get 25. Put in 100, you get 100 back. Look, what's better than that?
Right. Then you can jump in here and do these hashtag family best ball drafts with us. We do them these are all members of Fantasy Alarm. Right now we have a deal going on for that as well. If you go to fantasyalarm.com and click all pro and then go to annual, you get 40% off on the annual deal. And here's the thing. Even if you're just a football fan and you only would want to subscribe for football, it's the same price. At 40% off, you get the whole year for the same price that you would usually pay just to do the 6 months of football. And then you also get all the dynasty stuff in the off season, all the best ball stuff we do all off season. You get baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, NASCAR. We have the 3-time FSWA NASCAR Writer of the Year, Matthew Sells. So you get all that if you get signed up now. So just head on over to Fantasy Alarm. You can do that. Or if you just want the draft guide or the cheat sheet, you can buy those individually. So get in and get going with that. And yeah, I love these best ball drafts because it's kind of like drafting with your actual hometown league. We have people in here that know us. We know what they do. I mean, I've done like a million drafts with Icy Through and and Sigma and Hamburger and all these guys in the AN, obviously. So it's like you get that experience of what it's like drafting with people that know you, but also you get curveballs and you get people reaching for their guys. It's not just like a normal, boring mock draft. So I do enjoy doing these.
Yeah, and then you get Rams fan 72 taking JSN and immediately going on my enemies list.
There it is, dude.
But I don't have a lot of McLaurin, so I'm fine with that. I don't have a lot of Devontae. I've been talking kind of down on him about not being a first round pick, but I didn't have to take him in the first round. So there you go.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson was the guy that I would have taken instead of Kenneth Walker if I was going to take a wide receiver. So you got my guy Deontay too.
So so basically I'm just like sloppy seconds. Your team. You'd rather have Bijan. You'd rather have Deontay.
I know, man. I'm letting the value fall to you. Britt, I know you've been tracking a lot of the injury stuff, and you've been doing the training camp battles and all that. Do you have any update on Terry McLaurin, where he stands? What was the last that we've heard on Scary T and the toe?
Yeah, I updated it yesterday, and the same news that we had was the same news that we got about the MRI coming out, and that they were, quote, optimistic for week 1, but his status is still up in the air. We still just don't really know. They're being very tight-lipped about it, and I don't like that. I need to know the news, especially as we are in the final stretch of draft season. He makes me nervous. He makes me nervous anyway, and now with this toe, don't like it.
You look around at some of the prognosticators, some of the folks that set the numbers, like underdogs, where you can go in and hit over-unders on season numbers, higher lowers. They've taken Terry off the board. I've seen Terry's off the board, Jerry Jeudy's off the board, Treylon Burks is off the board, even though supposedly he's going to be back soon. They got to get him back up there, I guess. They took Courtland Sutton off the board, and I think that's related to Jerry Jeudy, where if Judy's not going to play, they were like, well, obviously we got to change these lines on Sutton. The other one that I've seen in a couple places that is interesting, and I don't know why, is Devontae Adams. I'm not really seeing a lot of places to go over or higher or lower or pick on Adams. So kind of interesting there. I wonder what that's about. But probably, I talked to Connor Allen of 4 for 4, who's really plugged in with the betting scene, and I was like, what's the deal here? And he was like, with the Jimmy G injury questions, I think they took it down at that point. He's like, sometimes they either don't put him back up or they take a while to get him back up. So he doesn't seem concerned. He doesn't seem to think it's like an injury or anything. He thinks it's just like, with the stuff going on there with the foot, they took it down. So, but yeah, I always keep an eye on that because I'm like, all right, why is this place removing these lines?
Yeah, it's interesting, and trust me, they know way more than we do as far as all this stuff. So we say we're plugged in. Those guys have been plugged in forever and are 24/7, always on.
I'll say this: I just wrote an article on this where I took a bunch of those numbers and from the Vegas prognosticators, and I compared them to ADP. And here's the way I use it: places like that, they're good at helping you figure out safety. Right? If they're willing to set those numbers high for a player, then that means they're confident in that player, and that makes me feel good about the player. Where they don't care is upside, and that's ADP is a lot sharper with upside. So when you see low numbers for Jahan Dotson or for George Pickens, they don't care about guessing who the breakout is. They care about getting enough people to bet on both sides of their number so that they make money on the juice. So that's the idea with that. So I'm not too worried when I see when I see that like a Jahan Dotson's low, because they're not factoring in the possibility that he just breaks out completely. So keep that in mind when you're looking at all that stuff. But it is a good tool to look at for sure.
Yep, 100%.
All right, through a few rounds here, I want to say let's look at a few of these squads. Britt, how are you feeling about your squad first and foremost? Well, we got you right on here on air.
I love it. My app is actually acting up, so I've been restarting it. But I like it. I love that I got Najee in the 3rd. I love that I got David Montgomery to be an RB2. We think that that's going to be a 2-headed backfield going throughout the season. I think that Gibbs is going to be used kind of in a positionless situation. So Tyler Lockett is my 4th wide receiver. Yum. Love it. Feeling pretty good right now, actually.
Yeah, your squad is pretty airtight. Especially even with Kev in between us picking all of our guys. Like he took your Bijan. We both like Bijan. He takes Bijan. He took my Devontae Adams, took your Jahmyr Gibbs, took my Deontay Johnson. It's crazy.
He's being a little sniper.
He's being a little Chris Sellers. That's what he's doing.
I'm taking guys I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of Zay Flowers. I don't have a lot of Terry McLaurin. I don't have a lot of Devontae Adams. I don't have as much Bijan as I would like either. So it's definitely not like the typical George Pickens, JSN, Ramondre, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, like that. Those are like my almost tried and true best ball picks.
Yeah. So Dale is Rams fan. He confirmed for me on Twitter. I just saw that now. So let's take a look at Dale's squad. I think this is his first one jumping in with us. So he's got first round AJ Brown, second round Amon-Ra St. Brown, third round DK Metcalf, fourth round Justin Herbert. So this is the 2022 Kev Tompkins type build here. Then he goes Dameon Pierce, JSN, Quentin Johnston. This actually across the board is kind of just a full-on Kev Tompkins team, is it not, Kev?
Let me scroll up. Who's this? AJ
He's Rams fan. AJ so he goes three wide receivers, and then he goes, grabs one running back, but then comes right back with the young wideouts, both rookie wideouts. Bingo bango.
Yeah, that is quintessential KT right there.
Yeah, it is, dude. Evan Engram. So he's got safety at tight end. Again, in these formats, anyone joining us for the first time that hasn't done a lot of these best balls, you need 2 to 3 quarterbacks, 2 to 3 tight ends. Well, if you draft 1, you're in trouble because you don't have anyone for bye weeks or injury. And if you draft 4, you're kind of overdoing it. You can get away with 4 tight ends, not so much 4 QBs is kind of overdoing it. So it'll be interesting to see guys like Rams fan. Pretty much most of us just have 1 QB and 1 tight end. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. And I just auto drafted Gabe Davis while I was saying all that stuff. So now I officially have every player that I don't usually draft.
That is your penance for not paying attention to the clock.
I don't have, so guys that I've taken Cooper Kupp for the first time, Kenneth Walker for the first time, and Gabe Davis for the first time. These other guys I've sprinkled in there plenty. But Gabe Davis, honestly, not a terrible pick here.
No, not where he's going. Last year he was getting steamed up way too much, but I think this year, right between you and Sellers steaming him up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I really, honestly, the thing is, as obnoxious as I am during the off season about players that, about the players that I'm drafting or fading, I didn't go too crazy victory lapping the fact that Gabe Davis wasn't really worth his ADP. And honestly, when I go back and look at it, he was pretty good, man. I mean, he missed a couple games, still had 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. He was fine.
I mean, compared to like Allen Robinson, who was getting picked like in tandem with him, like he looked like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he was fine. So wait a second. What is that? Wow. Great point by Chris Sellers. I just went to look at this. Chris Sellers says, so we've been talking about Underdog Pick'em, which is a new thing they have where they set stat guidelines and you can go in and pick at higher or lower. And if you hit it, then they pay out, right? If you want to get in on that, it's the same site as this that we're doing the best ball drafts. It's Underdog. Use promo code ALARM. They'll match 100% of your deposit up to $100. Sellers points out that they have this feature in there. And I was like, what do you mean 0.5 total yards as a promo? And if you pick it, then you win. And I'm looking at this and he's right. It's exactly right. It's kind of a free bet where if you go in and pick Patrick Mahomes 0.5 total yards higher, then I like all he has to do is play on Thursday. So, I mean, obviously you got to get in there and hit that. Make sure you use promo code ALARM when you do it and get set up with that. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that was on there. Free pick on the pick'em spot. Patrick Mahomes to get 1 yard on Thursday.
And those tend to kind of appear and disappear very quickly. Yeah. So if you went in on it, like, don't wait.
Yeah, it's good. It's good with like if you're going to combine them to try to 20x your bet and all that. It's a good like free square. I mean, so you would only have to get through. I think you have to play a minimum of 2. So you have to play that plus another one. And I think that's 3x if I remember right. But yeah, they do those all the time for like either bigger events or like they'll probably do them, bi-weekly. I know they did it for the NCAA tournament too. They've done it for golf masters and stuff like that too. So yeah, definitely pay attention to what's going on because they'll throw these out every so often.
I might put a lot of money on this. I might just pick Jared Goff higher than 256 passing yards and put that with Mahomes getting 1 yard and just put my mortgage on it. I'm thinking about it. I should probably make a pick in this draft before I do that, though. What do you guys say?
I actually have Goff going lower in that game because it's outdoors and it's away.
Under, lower.
Lower.
That's no good.
Yeah. I don't know.
Who will the Chiefs roulette wheel land on for the random touchdown? Blake Bell?
Whoever gets that shovel pass, could be anybody. Could be Blake Bell.
I do have Travis Kelce higher than 0.5 touchdowns, so I think he's going to get the shovel.
You got the higher with the shovel? I mean, could be Noah Gray. I might start all three tight ends, Noah Gray, Travis Kelce, and Sam Laporta in that
Just
game.
all of them.
The over-under for that if you look at the total for that game, it's 54 points. No other game is close to that. I think there's one game that might be at 50, but 54, I mean, that's going to be a shootout, baby.
I went around, but I reached for my guy. I guess not my guy.
Rude.
I'm on the bandwagon. You guys said I could be on it, so.
Who was it? Who'd you take?
Kincaid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I already took my guy Waller, so you can have him. But yeah, Kincaid, I'm feeling good about it, man. I'm feeling good about it.
It's a little frothy in the 9th, but it is what it is. It's now vibes-based drafting season. It is ADP is a construct, so just good vibes. And you know who has Indianapolis just overall, not even counting the Jonathan Taylor stuff, just is the worst vibes-based drafting team I think you can make, even with Richardson.
Yeah. Jack Sensen makes a good point. That's Jack Straw, usually drafts with us, not in this one today. He makes a good point that you can this one, it's actually only $10 because I typed in 100,000 and it said that was too high. It said I can only do 10.
All right, Mattress Mac.
So it wouldn't let me bet $100,000.
All right, I guess I'll play the hits.
If you go over to Underdog Fantasy and deposit $100,000, if you use promo code alarm, they'll give you $100. So they'll match you up to 100 if you deposit 100,000. But just know that if you're going to use that free Patrick Mahomes thing, you can't. You can only do $10 on that one. Just if anyone's planning on doing that and getting on my level.
Yeah.
I'll probably do one after this draft, to be honest. I can't stay away. The pick'ems are my favorites.
Yeah, they're great.
And this year they added the insurance too, that they didn't have last year. So that
How's that
insurance makes it so the insurance, you have to make 3 picks at minimum instead of 2. But if one of your picks doesn't hit, then you can still get paid out. So it works. It gives you a little bit of a security blanket, which is nice. I like that addition to the platform.
Ooh, that is pretty nice. I took my first quarterback, Geno Smith. Feeling pretty good about Geno this year. What we'll say about Geno is that I was worried that he might have been at his ceiling. And I know we obviously, with quarterbacks like this that are coming out with their second year, we worry about the team having tape on them and potentially picking up tells and things they can use this year. But at the same time, I look at what he did last year, and I see no reason why he can't repeat the passing, especially with better pass catchers. And DK Metcalf led the league in end zone targets, and they didn't really connect on as many of those as you would think, only like 6. And he's had double-digit touchdowns every year except last year. So if they get on a better page, it's going to be even better there. On top of all that, the rushing yards that Geno had, where he had like 350 or so rushing yards, typically when a quarterback does that, they usually have more than 1 rushing touchdown. So I think there's regression in a positive way coming if he's going to run the same way he did last year, just to have a couple more touchdowns in there, right? I mean, the last time he ran at that level was a long time ago, but when he did that, he had 6 touchdowns, pretty much the same number of rushing yards with 6 touchdowns. So the fact he only had 1 rushing touchdown last year, I could see him having a couple more this year. Geno, I'm in on.
I'm a little bit lukewarm, to be honest.
I would say lukewarm is where I am actually as well. Like, but that makes us in though. That our feet are at least in.
I've made enough bets on the Seattle Seahawks offense that I think I'm contractually obligated to be in. So I'm in.
Well, let's say, Britt, let's say it's a pool, little end of a pool. How much of you is in and why is the rest of you out?
I don't know because I can't see the board.
I was going to find a way to work that in too.
That has nothing to do with the question.
Can you scroll, please?
But that is a good point.
I have now scrolled. All right.
All right. So the
we're back.
Yeah, scroll a little bit more because you're yeah.
You know I
There we
won't.
go.
I'll forget.
Just because your
I'm doing a
nameplate
lot of
was like,
stuff. I'm doing a
I
lot of stuff
know
over here.
it's multitasking mania over here.
Jack has a couple trades.
Answer the pool question, please.
60-40.
That's like halfway in, dude. That's like up to that's past you. That's
lukewarm.
past your knees. That's past your knees.
Lukewarm.
So you're taking them just after ADP, then, is what I would say that is.
Yeah, it's a bathwater take. I think with the second year offensive coordinator and drafting Charbonnet, they're going to run a little bit more, just to balance out, time of possession, things like that. I don't think he's going to pass, sixth highest rate in the league, but he can still be good, especially where he's going. That return that you get on ADP isn't bad, but I'm not expecting him to be like a top 10 guy again this season.
Rapid fire. Dak Prescott or Geno Smith?
Dak. How do you ask me this?
Daniel Jones. Well, I'm just starting at the top. Daniel Jones or Geno Smith?
I think I'd still take Jones.
What did you say, Kev?
Make your pick.
Kirk Cousins or Geno Smith? Oh, I'm on the clock. Kirk Cousins or Geno Smith?
Kirk Cousins.
Geno. No, Kirk. They're closer. I think they're closer.
I just think Minnesota's defense.
And pass volume and
former back-to-back MVP Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith?
Rodgers. Really?
Rodgers. So I think that. Well, let me ask this last one then, Britt, and this will determine whether you're in or out. Jared Goff or Geno Smith?
I think I'd still have to go with Goff.
So if you're taking Rodgers and Goff over Geno, then I think that it makes it difficult for you to even end up with Geno at any point, I think.
I've ended up with him quite a bit, but I mean,
Rodgers is still sitting there.
Yeah.
I took Goff over him just now.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know why Aaron Rodgers is falling so far. It's just super puzzling to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and there he goes.
And there he goes. Rams fan. There's Dale. Dale's paying attention.
Plugged in.
All right, Britt on the clock here. So that was Britt. I actually, when I wasn't paying attention and took Nico Collins, I was kicking myself for not taking Raheem Mostert there. That is a pick. He should be going with the news today. He should be going much earlier. Now,
Kevin's leaving. He's mad.
Bye, Kev. Did we get any clarification on that, by the way, Britt? Because you, me, and Kev, we were discussing that earlier, and it was a little uncertain as to what the deal was. So
he was meowing at the door, so little Jordy wanted to get in on the chat.
Jordy.
Jordy's a good kiki.
What's
the Scottish fold polydactyl.
That's a big paw. That's a big paw, meowie.
I think they're gonna wait until the official start of the season. So it's gonna be 4 games. So and not the whole season. But the way that it was worded in the blurbs on Twitter, it was have placed.
Right.
Making it seem like
he would be out.
They'd already done it. Yeah. So there was a lot of confusion surrounding that.
Right.
All right. Jordy did give me his pick, by the way, of what's on the board. So I'll be making that right now.
Collusion.
It's not fair.
Look, Jordy is plugged into the preseason. So, I mean, I think I've got to make this pick in good faith.
I feel like when you wait so long on quarterback, though, you've kind of got to make a back-to-back situation just because there's so much uncertainty with those later round QBs.
I just didn't want to be stuck into Jared Goff and Ritter and Howell. I didn't want to be stuck in 2 of those bottom guys. Don't get me wrong. I like Howell. I have taken enough of Ritter, but I don't know. Pick it in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but I'm convinced that there's going to be some smoke to that fire with a second year. Maybe not like a full breakout, but at least marked improvement in that Steelers offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he only threw 7 touchdown passes last year. It's got to be better than that. So
confidence does a lot, and he looked very confident.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll have to see. I don't know if I'm expecting him to do like a Trevor Lawrence style jump, though. I mean, how many touchdown passes for Kenny Pickett is reasonable? 25? Feels
I'd
like
say
a lot.
I was gonna say between 20 and 25.
I was right there at 20.
20.
So we're all about on the same page.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's
for a
still gonna
guy.
put him in the teens.
Yeah, and you got to remember that he can maneuver, right? There's different classifications of quarterback in terms of mobility. Like obviously, there's just true rushing quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Anthony Richardson. Like these guys are getting full on designed run plays, whereas a guy like Daniel Jones, I guess he's probably on the cusp of that. But guys like Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, those guys, Patrick Mahomes, they're mobile, but they're not rushing QBs. They're capable of 300, 350 rushing yards, where I think that's where Kenny Pickett actually falls. And then you have a class of guys like Mac Jones, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, where if they have 100 rushing yards, I would be like, good job, buddy. Congratulations.
Yeah, there's a huge discrepancy between guys that are getting like the designed runs, like the fields that we know are going to have plays called where they are running versus guys that are going to be making something out of nothing and leaking out. It's obviously more consistent with the design rush guys. So that's an important designation to make when you're looking at these quarterbacks and just trying to pin down rushing upside.
Right. Scott Frankel in the chat says they're called statues. And I think that's about right. And I want to ask you, Scott Frankel, as a UNC guy, how is Sam Howell? Is he a like designed run guy where he's like Cam Newton running powers, like, with a fullback or whatever? Or is he more of just like a opportunistic runner in your experience? Or did you guys watch a lot of UNC? I know Frankel is a UNC fan. So I'm kind of asking what flavor of rusher is Sam Howell? Because people keep telling me he's mobile, but in his short time, I didn't see much designed running. Like, is he doing like QB draws and stuff?
No. So the thing with Sam Howell is that after Michael Carter and Javonte Williams both went out in the same draft, he also lost a bunch of his receivers. He had 0 playmakers and was forced to make plays with his legs. And a lot of those were scrambles instead of designed runs. So I don't know if they're going to utilize him that way. Eric Bieniemy didn't really utilize Patrick Mahomes that way. He was just more of a scrambler.
Right.
As far as designed runs, he doesn't do that because Sellers talks about it in the chat. No one ever talks about Mahomes rushing and dude takes off all the time, but those are more scrambles out of necessity as opposed to designed runs. And if Hal does get any rushing upside, it's going to be because he's forced to, not because they want him to.
Yeah. And that's the thing with a guy like Mahomes, though. It's like Mahomes is just such a valuable player. It's like picking up a expensive vase and using it to hammer in a nail. Like there's calling run plays for a player like that. Just, it doesn't seem to make sense. So, and Scott Frankel backing up your thoughts on Sam Howell as somebody who watched him, that not really drawing him up for him. Maybe a QB draw. I think was it against your Cowboys last year, Britt? Was that a designed QB draw or did he just take off? I think he just took off, right?
I think so. I can't remember. At that point, I was bored because we were playing like third stringers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the legendary Sam Howell versus the Scrubs game.
Yes. Which again is why I don't understand why everybody uses that particular highlight. Because it's like he was playing against backups, dude.
Oh, the other one they use is the game in the preseason against the Panthers. And I'm like, dude, that's even worse. Like they send me, they're like, what about this one? I'm like, that one's even worse. The guy in the preseason video against the Panthers, the dude that Sam Howell makes the move on was released the very next morning. The very next morning. I looked it up. I was like, who's 26 on the Panthers? He was released immediately. So don't send me that highlight. I've come around on Sam Howell, but please do not send me highlights against backups and highlights against dudes that didn't even make the 53.
Yes. And that's how you know like that they were really bad, because there was only one cut date. If you get cut before the cut date, like their mind is already made up. They've seen enough.
You did something. That's what I always wonder. It's like, what was the last straw? An argument? With Bruce Arians, if you park in the wrong parking spot, he'll release you. Remember that one? That was a
Was that a thing?
We had, dude. He released a guy back when he was on the Cardinals. He was ruthless. Bruce Arians. So not with the Buccaneers. When he was with the Cardinals, he would come out to the media and say crazy stuff.
He
he came out and he released a guy for parking the wrong parking spot. He said essentially said that he, which the saying isn't really even like allowed anymore. Like you can't make the team in the tub. He basically came out and said something even more dramatic. He was like, "Don't get hurt or you will be released." Then he came out they had 11 wide receivers on the roster at the time, and he said there's 2 wide receivers on this team, Smoke and Larry. And, and everyone was like, "What the hell, dude?" Like back then he was just throwing crazy comments out there. Like that was wild time, Bruce Arians.
And then that heart attack kind of settled him down a little bit.
And he chilled out a little bit. Yeah, but Bruce Arians was an animal back then. He's still kind of like, he was an animal the whole time, but like he's probably just saying that stuff behind closed doors instead of saying it to the media.
Yeah, right. And then he got on that All or Nothing show on Amazon, and he had to tone it down because he couldn't do it in front of cameras.
Yeah,
get canceled. Burns, we need a canceled drop.
We had the expired.
Is that one in there still?
I don't know if it's in here.
Yeah. Well, we'll just, we said it. It counts. It's in there.
Expired.
Probably if you go through my fridge right now.
Thanks, Aunt Bonnie.
Dude, there's been a couple Bruce Arians tweets that I've saved over the year. People tweeting about Bruce Arians. They're perfect. Listen to this one. This is Dan Lebitard said, Bruce Arians looks like the guy who comes to the bar by himself and never speaks, but laughs at other people's conversations.
Oh my God.
Here's another.
That feels a little accurate though.
Dude, they're all accurate. Here's another one. Bruce Arians is your friend who says he's too tired to hang out that night, but then you see him later that evening in the bar downing shots of Fireball.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
Bruce Arians bar takes, dude. I think it might be the hat, that like scally cap that he wears during practice.
Congrats on getting on timing out for Gerald Everett, by the way.
Yeah. This draft has gone out the window a long time ago for me, folks.
Well, I think you kind of set it up that way. You're like, I'm taking players I don't have many or any of.
This will be my best.
Timeouts are appropriate.
This will be my best team. There's no question. Just getting all the players that I don't.
Poncho's gonna snipe me right now. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, Poncho's a sharp gamer.
Okay, never mind.
Let's take a look at some of these other squads. Let's see what Sigma do to start this one here. Sigma's a sharp gamer. Chubb, Pollard, Keenan Allen, ETN, Trevor Lawrence, Jerry Jeudy. Kev, you've been the one most willing to still take Jeudy. 6th round, is that appropriate or is that still a little early?
It's about right. I think on like the NFC primetime, like drafts like that, like some of the high stakes ones, he's going later. Like one of those, Jonathan Taylor went in like the 8th round. Like a lot of the high stakes people are really scared off about the Taylor stuff, but I think like week to week stuff, I think that's certainly impacted less. So people are more willing to take shots on guys like McLaurin, Jeudy, JSN, which is hilarious because all 3 of them went back to back here in this draft. But yeah.
Sigma's first 3 picks are the exact ones I would make from that spot. There's no doubt about it. Then let's see. Isaiah Pacheco, Charbonnet, players we like. Dallas Goedert, boring. Odell, Gallup, Zach Moss. Where are you guys at with the Colts with this situation? Do you think Kareem Hunt's coming in, or out of the incumbent guys, who do you like? Britt, what do you think?
I don't really like any of them.
If you have to.
This is going to be a full-on committee cluster. You would think that they would bring in Hunt, but he's already made a visit and basically didn't accept their offer. So I don't think he wants to go there. So I don't really expect him to show up. Maybe Jackson, but blah, it's gross.
Yeah, I think I like Deion Jackson if I have to pick one. What do you think, Kev?
It's all gross, and considering, I guess, Zach Moss, once he heals back up, we saw him at the end of last season, like at least be serviceable, but that was also for Jeff Saturday, and he seemed to have some kind of like aversion to Deion Jackson or anybody with a receiving skill set, and just wanted to go full on 1983 and run between the tackles with Zach Moss. So it wouldn't shock me if Zach Moss got the first crack when he is healthy.
Yeah,
but Deion Jackson is probably the best fantasy bet for me.
So is this a situation where, because when it comes to these ambiguous backfields, there's two ways to play it. There's having your guy that you're willing to take first, and that's been for me a guy like Raheem Mostert. I've been taking a lot of him first for the Dolphins. In some of these other ones, though, it's like I'll just wait and take the third guy. So does this one kind of feel like if you're going to take anybody, you just wait and take like whoever's left? Like if somebody else takes Moss, you wait and take Jackson, or you wait and take Hull, or are you just staying away completely?
I don't think I'm taking. I'm not taking Moss, at least right now. I don't really feel. I don't feel good at any of these guys. But if I had to pin my hopes on it, would be Jackson, I guess. Like, who knows with this? Because I think they're all just kind of bunched up. But knowing what we have in Moss, and at least them knowing that he can handle 15 plus carries, I would say he would probably get the first crack.
Yeah, I think Sigma did a good job here. I like Gus Edwards, and we all like Greg Dulcich all of a sudden as well. Even if we didn't before, you kind of got to like him now, especially at that ADP. That's still crazy. The ADPs don't adjust the way they should, right? Like I just feel like they should. These guys should be moving up faster. Dulcich should have moved up a lot higher than he is. But anyway, let's take a look at some of the other ones. Let's look at Nate's team. Nate is I'm not sure if he's drafted with us before. This might be his first one. I think he was in the ill-fated draft yesterday that went off while we weren't on air. So this would be the second one, first one live. So Nate's team is fourth. That's NY's 1605. He went Tyreek Hill, Josh Jacobs, Josh Allen, Amari Cooper, Miles Sanders, Christian Kirk, Alvin Kamara, David Njoku, Juju, Russ. As I'm reading this team, this looks more like a team this looks way more like my team than my team does.
Is this the doppelganger draft?
This is another one where it's like, besides Josh Jacobs, I'm not taking much Jacobs, but I mean like every other player on this team is who I would draft typically. So
Britt, I drafted like you, because me and Coop have ours.
Yeah. Which one of these other teams is most like a team you would take?
I don't know. Maybe who's number 3? I can't read the situation. It's too small on my screen. But I think
Breezy?
I think number 3 is a lot similar.
That's Jay Breeze.
Yeah. I just can't read. It's this tiny on my screen.
Jay Breeze has Christian McCaffrey, Calvin Ridley, Devonta Smith, TJ Hawkinson, Mike Williams, Jordan Addison, James Conner, Tua. Good value on Tua there. Brian Robinson, Tank Bigsby, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Love, Higbee, Jeff Wilson, Isaiah Hodgins, Tank Dell, and Mac Jones.
Yeah, I really like that team.
I think Breezy's, I want to say, if this is the Breezy that we met at the Expo, and if you're in the chat, Breezy, let me know, then he's a Dolphins fan. So not only did he get Tua, but he got good value on Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Also, poor Jeff Wilson.
I know. Pour one out, man. Pour one out. But I have so much Raheem Mostert that I don't even care, dude.
I have more Mostert in managed leagues, so I'm happy with that. But my 20% Jeff Wilson bags in best ball are for the first 4 weeks, got to weather the storm. But he was like the one guy in like 0 RB drafts that I was taking to get early season upside. So we're a lot more fragile, baby.
I think I just got sick taking Darius Slayton.
Dude, the thing is with like those Giants wide receivers, there's arguments that they're all kind of good. You can make an argument for every single one of those players. Darius Slayton has been pretty good. Darius Slayton's had better seasons than Isaiah Hodgins. I know Isaiah Hodgins is young and he's new, but like we're talking about, like Slayton has had 800-yard seasons in this league. And Sterling Shepard's had how many double-digit target games has Sterling Shepard had?
Well, Shepard's not even in the starting depth chart. He's still like way behind.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and Slayton is the number 1. So I guess if I had to decide out of the elephant graveyard of slot receivers, that it's not too bad to take
slot
Slayton.
Receiver Voltron.
Yeah, it's a mess, dude. If you could somehow combine them to one, and then you got Wan'Dale Robinson, who they didn't put Wan'Dale on the IR where he misses 4 games. So they say he's going to miss a little time, but if they're not expecting him to miss 4 games, I mean, come on now. Come on now.
2 or 3, baby.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you guys about one other thing I saw, which was the the Chiefs, for absolutely no reason at all, came out and pretty much told everybody that Rashee Rice and Justin Ross are not going to be full-time players, that they're just going to be part-time package players. I don't know why. I love that they said it because it gives us information, but I don't know why you would even feel the need to say that. But so that makes Sky Moore and who else the full-time starters? MVS or like who?
Probably, unfortunately, probably MVS.
He's listed as second, which I don't understand because he is so just a guy, like not exciting.
If he wasn't making $10.5 million, if he wasn't making $10.5 million, he'd be cut by now.
Right, that was a mistake. That you could put that right with the Nelson Aguilar Patriots. 2 years, 22 million or whatever it was. Like chasing field stretchers from other teams. It doesn't add up.
Not great, Bob.
Great, Bob. It's like did it work for those guys? No, but maybe it could work for us. Maybe it'll work for us. Yes. So one last team I wanted to talk about before we jump off here is CDM's team. That's Gringo Loco on our Discord. Great dude jumping in here. I think this might be his first one as well. He took CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, George Pickens, Jahan Dotson, Michael Pittman, Brandon Cooks. So he waited on tight end, which is tight end and quarterback, which is good. And he had a nice mix of safety and upside, I feel. Right? CeeDee Lamb, very safe. And then George Pickens and Jahan Dotson, obviously the hot new thing. But Michael Pittman's pretty safe too. And Brandon Cooks is a quintessential best ball player. So let's see. He pieced together quarterback. How do you feel about the way he did quarterback and tight end here?
I mean, I think that's good. If you're going to wait on quarterback, you definitely want to take 3, which he did.
He stacked Lamb and Cooks and Dak.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that waiting worked out really well for him. I am a little bit worried about the tight end situation with Schultz and Knox, especially with Kincaid there. Oh, there is
look at that. Just when I was like thinking the same thing, and I scrolled down and would you look at that? Gives himself a shot at upside with Hayden Hurst. What a great draft by Gringo, man.
Yeah, that was excellent.
I think the trick to everyone having a good draft was me drafting the worst team I've ever drafted.
I mean, that helps.
I just shared with the community. I just wanted to share with the community on this one. So
after taking so much, it only took a $5 best ball to get us back on track.
Burns, what was that drop?
I wish you weren't a liar.
Excellent.
No, that's charity. I'm writing this draft off when I do my taxes. $5 charity draft there. I just gave back to the entire Fantasyland community. Well, anything else before we jump off, guys? Anything to say? 1 week left of football.
I want to say good luck to everybody out there drafting your teams.
Yep.
Have fun, but don't get sloshed.
That's right, dude. That's the dangerous game. And if you do plan on getting sloshed, the easiest way to protect yourself, print out the Fantasy Alarm Ultimate Cheat Sheet. Not only do we have the top 200 on there, all the auction values, I went in and took all my dynamic tier rankings and I color coded them. So not only are they in order of who I like to draft, not only are they separated by upside versus floor versus handcuffs, but I also color coded them green for guys I like above ADP, yellow for guys I like at ADP, or as Britt would say, 40% in the little end, or red for guys I'm just not taking at ADP. So feel free to throw back the fireball and just
where's my bourbon?
Exactly. Pour the bourbon up and then go off the color-coded sheet. Right now, there's 3 ways to get it. If you're an All-Pro member, you already have it for free. You can become an All-Pro member, annual membership, 40% off right now, and you get the draft guide and the cheat sheet. If you just buy the draft guide right now, that's $27.99, and that gives you the draft guide with all the articles, all the videos, all the mock drafts, and the cheat sheet. Or you can just grab the cheat sheet. That's $17.98 right now, and that is honestly, if you're just doing one draft and you just want something to print out, that's the one thing you need. So just make sure you get that. But if every level up, you get everything else that comes with it. And if you do the the annual membership, that will get you into the Discord. It will get you into these drafts with us, and it'll make you kind of a super mega star. And one of our friends, like people like Ann and Poncho in Chicago, we talk football all the time. Like I met Ann in person this year. Like we're friends. So you guys are our friends. Thank you for joining us. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.